Today we're working on every guitarist challenge, changing chords fast and clean. The technique I'm going to show you today reduces the time it takes to learn new, difficult chord changes significantly. This method works if you're a beginner and starting with your first chord, or if you're an advanced player who tries to learn new harmonic adventures. Or some heavy rock riffs. Many of my private students have used it, and I can say it just works. It's not a miracle. It will not be like even the most difficult chord changes come to you overnight or something like that. It still needs effort, it still needs work, but it reduces the time, like I said before, significantly. So I'm first going to explain how the basic concept behind the technique works, that you are really motivated to try it out. I don't know of anything what's so demanding for our fingers in our daily life. You know, we have to, when we change chord, we have to move, we have 4 fingers, but move sometimes in different directions at different speeds because they have to go to different positions and everything has to be synchronized. So if you think about it, it's really, really complicated. I would say even an octopus is really, when he watches us changing chords, he thinks, oh, they are crazy. You probably already knew that it's difficult. That's no new information. But how can we bring this now to our system, that we do the movements by our subconscious mind? Our goal from this lesson is that whatever chord we play, we can do subconsciously. So if I play an A to an E, I just think a E. I just do it. I don't think about where every finger has to go, what the movement is. All that is in my subconscious mind. Even if it seems a little bit counterintuitive at first, to make the movements subconscious, we first have to put them consciously in our mind. So we have to really think about what the movement is and how we should execute it, right? But that's difficult to do with 4 fingers. So what we do, and that's the method, we just use 1 finger. We just think about this finger and make the movement really clear and really precise and train our brain with just 1 finger. Then we do it with the next finger and with the next finger. And then we put 2 fingers together and then a 3rd finger and the 4th finger and so on. You will see it when we do it practically, what we do now. I'll be referring to the fingers as follows. 1 is the index, 2 is the middle, 3 is the ring, and 4 is the pinky. We're going to start with 2 basic chords, A and E. We're going to learn a transition from A to E. It's really basic, and I know a lot of you already know these chords, but I just want to make the concept clear. Later, I'm going to do the same thing with more difficult chords. Basically, it's a 3-step process that we repeat with all the fingers. So the first step is to play the chord. You take your time, how long it takes, but I'm making now much faster to show the example, right? So I play the A chord, and then I'll think about what the first finger has to do to go to the target chord, in our case the E. So I check out, the first finger has to go from here to here. So that's what I'm doing, that's my 2nd step. And the 3rd step is to play the whole target chord. I repeat, first I play our starting chord, then I think about where the first finger has to go. I make the movement small and precise to our target chord. That's the 2nd step, and the 3rd step is then to play the whole E chord. What's our target chord? Now I repeat the same process with the 2nd finger. So I play our A, our starting chord, then I think about the 2nd finger, where it has to go. It has to go from here to here, so I do that movement. That's my 2nd step, and the 3rd step is then to play the new whole chord. Then the next step is the 3rd finger, right? We play the A, we think about where the 3rd finger has to go, we do that movement, and then we play the whole E chord. The method is not over yet, but let's cover first some basic exercise tips. The most important step is the 2nd step. That's where all our concentration should go. Because that's where we train our single finger, the movement. It should be really with our conscious mind, and we really should think about how I want to move this finger. It should be a really small distance. It should feel really smooth. It shouldn't be a lot of steps. A lot of my students, what I see with a lot of my students is the following. They play the chord, that's the 1st step, right? And then they make the movement, but it's not 1 step. It's more like 3 or 4 steps. It's like they make the movement. I just show it with 1 finger, then you can see it better. but normally the chord would be there. I make now the movement, and it's not like this, bam, bam. It's much more steps in between. It's something like, that's not what we want. We want really precise movement. Dang, bang, bang. Really concentrated. Bam, bam. And another thing what should be clear is I showed it now really fast. If the chords you're practicing are really new to you, and like with a lot of things we practice, it makes much more sense to do it for just some minutes a day, but really concentrated. Then a lot of the work happens while we're sleeping. Our mind works on it, and the next day it works a little bit better. So we do one finger one day, then the second finger another day, the third finger another day, and then we go on with those steps. Sometimes it doesn't need that long, sometimes it goes faster, but you take your time. Now, after training our single fingers, we put them now together in pairs. That only works if we already know the movement with one finger. It's easier to show than to explain. So it's again a three-step process. We play the A chord. Then we think about the movement from the first and second finger. Pam. We do it in one movement. And then the third step is to play the whole chord. Then as the next step, we do that with other pairs. There are two pairs left, 1 and 3. And 2 and 3. I just show it really fast. Now in the second step, it's really important that the movement of the two fingers, or the combined movement of the two fingers, feels like one thought. Now we go to a more complex chord change. We go from B7 to E. There are three things what are different than before. The first thing is that there's one finger what stays at the same place. The second thing is that we have 4 fingers what are moving. And the third thing is that one of the fingers is in one chord but not in the second. So again, we start with a 3-step process. We play our B7, we take our time, how long it takes. You know, if it's new to you, it takes much longer than I do it now. So B7. Then we think about the first finger, where he has to go. He has to go here, right? So that's our second step. And our third step is to play the whole chord. Now we do the same thing with the second finger. We play the B7. And now we check that the second finger doesn't have to move. But we concentrate now to do the movement without moving the second finger. And then we play the whole E chord. Again, we play the chord. Then we think about the second finger, we try to make no movement, and then we play them as a third step, the whole E chord, our target chord. Now again we do the third finger, it has to go from here to here. We do that, bam. Now we go on with the fourth finger, we play the B7, we think what he has to do, the fourth finger, and we check, oh, he doesn't have to do anything because in E there is no fourth finger. So we think about it, we put it away, that's our second step, and our third step is to play the whole E chord. Now, after practicing it for some time and we have memorized the movement of the single fingers, again we combine them. So we start again with B7. Now we think about the first and second finger. The second finger has to stay there, and the first finger has to go down here, so we do that movement, and then we play the E chord. So first step, B7. Second step, the movement. Third step, play the whole E chord. Now we can go on and do that with the rest of the finger pairs. 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. And the next step is we move 3 fingers at once. So we play again our B7. Now we think about the first, the second and third finger. We do the movement and play the whole chord. If both chords are using 4 fingers, there are even more combinations. The combinations for 3 fingers are 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So here you have it. This should help your chord changing game a lot. If bar chords are difficult for you, this pencil can help you to understand better how they work. If you want to know how, subscribe to the channel, or if the video is ready, watch it here. Thanks for watching and have fun practicing. Till soon.